Hello everyone and welcome back to What If League. Today I'm finishing the experiment where we have transferred Ivan Perisic to Manchester United in the beginning of summer 2017. What I have done in the previous video is I have simulated the first season after the transfer, and we saw in the last video that Manchester United were actually crowned champions and they lost three other finals. They managed to get to the League Cup final, FA Cup final and the Champions League Cup final, but lost all of them respectively to Burnley, Arsenal and Juventus. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what has happened in the next 3 years and how did football world in the top 5 European leagues evolve. First, we're going to start with the English Premier League, and here we see the first season where Manchester United won. Let's move to the next season. We see that here Chelsea was the champions with 94 points, 8 clear above Manchester United, Arsenal and Tottenham. The rest of the top four, Manchester City and Liverpool, are missing on Champions League football again. Then we see in the relegation zone Crystal Palace, Aston Villa and Bristol City have gone down to the Championship. 1 year later, Manchester United have retained their title above Chelsea, Manchester City and Arsenal, so Manchester City are entering the top four. Liverpool, unfortunately, are still fifth, and in the relegation zone, Sunderland, Reading and Norwich. In the last season, so this is season number 4, after Ivan Perisic's transfer, Arsenal are champions with 87 points, just one above Chelsea, Manchester United and Liverpool finishing third and fourth respectively. Manchester City out of the top four and into fifth place into Europa League. Middlesbrough, Hull City and Crystal Palace are the teams that are going down to the Championship. We can also see that Watford and Newcastle have qualified for the Europa League. Newcastle obviously from one of the cup competitions, so they had a good cup run. Let's have a look at the top transfers for this season. So let's go back to the beginning. We see here Virgil van Dijk's transfer where it was the biggest. Let's move on to the next season when Mauro Icardi moved from Inter to Manchester United. So another big transfer on the same direction. Then Fabinho from Monaco moved to Chelsea, so he's a very good player who can play in the midfield as a defensive midfielder or as a right fullback. So a good transfer for Chelsea. Naby Keita, this was an arranged transfer to Liverpool, and this has now truly happened. And Alex Grimaldo, so this is I think a left winger and a wing back, yeah, has moved from Benfica to Man United. Let's see the season after that. We see David Alaba, another left fullback, moved to Chelsea, so a very big transfer, 95 million pounds potentially. Timo Werner, the Red Bull striker, has moved to Tottenham. Rafinha from Leverkusen to Manchester City, and Ruben Neves from Wolverhampton to Manchester United for eventually up to 60 million pounds. Very big transfers. The rest of the transfers for that season, we can see the names of Nelson Semedo from Barca to Manchester City and Sergej Milinkovic-Savic from Lazio to Manchester United. There is a lot of speculation about Savic right now in reality that he's going to make the switch to England, maybe to City, maybe to United. We will going to see. And in the final season in here, Andres Silva has transferred from Real Madrid to Manchester City for almost 100 million pounds. Let me just take a quick look at this person, Andres Silva. So he has been bought by Real for 57 million 3 seasons ago, and then Manchester City bought him again. He has had phenomenal seasons, very high average rating, so a very good striker and an attacking midfielder. Sadio Mane moved from Liverpool to Real Madrid for 54 million pounds. Very interesting transfers in England. Now let's have a look at the Spanish La Liga, and then we'll also go through the other European top leagues before we come back and see what Ivan Perisic made in his transfer in Manchester United. So we're back in Spain where Barcelona picked up the first title. Then the second season they doubled their title with another win, 4 points clear of Real Madrid. Atletico in third place, Sevilla fourth, Girona, Osasuna and Valladolid going down. Then in the third season Real Madrid picked up the title, 1 point clear of Atletico. Barcelona and Sevilla consist the rest of the top four, and Real Betis, Getafe and Granada are going down. And in the very last season Atletico picked up the title only on goal difference, 6 goals better than Barcelona, so this was a very tough battle in the end. Real Madrid in third place, Sevilla fourth, Girona, Osasuna and Almeria all going down. If we have a quick look at the transfer list, let's see, in the second season, the biggest transfer was from Atletico Madrid to PSG. Saul, the very good midfielder Saul, has moved for 85 million pounds. Samuel Umtiti from Barcelona has moved back to France in Monaco for close to 84 million pounds. And then we see the transfer of Andre Silva, who we know that subsequently goes to Manchester City. So we have quite a lot of big transfers in Spain in the second year. In the third year, Marco Asensio moved from Real Madrid to Juventus, so this is very surprising. I would have expected Real to keep him. João Mario, on the other hand, has moved from Inter to Real. Corentin Tolisso from Bayern to Barcelona, and we see Stefan de Vrij, defender from Barca to Manchester City. Nelson Semedo, Barca to Manchester City. Quite a lot of transfers in the direction to the English teams. In the very last season, Kingsley Coman from Bayern Munich has made the switch to Barcelona for an enormous sum of 87 million pounds. The same for Andre Silva, which we saw from the English transfers. Gabriel Barbosa from Inter has joined Madrid for 68 million. A lot of very interesting transfers here as well. Moving on to Italy and Serie A, we are now in the first season which Juventus won. The second season Juventus won again by a staggering difference of 20 points to the second place AC Milan. You can see they managed to record 33 wins, only one draw and only 4 losses, 88 goals for and 22 against. Phenomenal performance by Juventus. Palermo, Frosinone and Perugia are going down. Then in the third season, Juventus won again, this time by a larger difference, 22 points, 4 drawn, 1 lost, so they're getting even better. Bari, Verona and Salernitana are going down. Atalanta is actually punching way above their weight and they have finished third, qualifying for Champions League. And in the very last season, Juventus won a 4th consecutive title in the manager. Napoli, Milan, and Inter finishing in the European League, in the Champions League places, with Atalanta dropping to the Europa League. Brescia, Cesena, and Parma have gone down in this last season. You can see that Juventus' domination is overwhelming in Italy, and nobody else can even come close to the title. Let's also have a quick look at the transfers in Italy. So the first season, Ivan Perisic's transfer is the top one. Then in the next one, Mauro Icardi, another transfer to Manchester United, is topping the list. Andre Silva to Real Madrid. And then Sergio Roberto from Dortmund to Juventus for 55 million. That's a very big transfer. Alessio Romagnoli is an internal Italian transfer from Milan to Roma. But you can see that most of the transfers are actually outgoing, not incoming. Let's see, in the next season, Marco Asensio to Juventus is the big transfer, so this is the incoming transfer. Then we have another outgoing. Then we have Marcos Alonso joining Napoli from Chelsea, a very big transfer. Savic, Lazio lost Savic and Cataneo to Juventus and Manchester United respectively. And in the very last season, Gabriel Barbosa switched from Inter to Real Madrid. We already saw that. Diogo Jota from Atletico Madrid joined Juventus, but Juventus actually lost Alexis Sanchez and Daniele Rugani. Alexis Sanchez has joined Manchester United. This means that he left Arsenal on a free, joined Juventus for a couple of years, and then for 55 million pounds he has joined Manchester United and had a very good season, to be honest. So this is phenomenal. He's 32 years old but managed to get such a high valuation, 55 million pounds. This is very interesting. Let's have a look then what happens in the other leagues. In the German Bundesliga, we left when Bayern Munich were champions in the first season. In the next season, they are champions again. Not a big surprise. 8 points clear of the second place Dortmund, Darmstadt, Werder Bremen, and Bielefeld are going down in the relegation zone. In season number 3, Bayern are champions again. 3 points clear of Dortmund. Once again, Frankfurt and Ingolstadt this time are going down. And in the very last season, Bayern Munich champions one more time. 16 points clear of second place Leverkusen. Dortmund are even further down the line. Union Berlin, Bielefeld and Augsburg are all going down this year. If we have a look at the past winners, you can see that Bayern's domination here is also very much the same as Juventus in Italy. If we go to the transfer section to have a quick look, so the first season we have already seen. The second one has saw Naby Keita. This is an arranged transfer, which we already know. Dortmund lost a couple of people. Then we see Hoffenheim bought Donny van de Beek from Southampton. Sime Versauco from Atletico joined Dortmund. Interesting transfers here. Bayern are not really spending a lot in the second season, but then in the third, after they lost David Alaba, they bought Goretzka. They also bought Jonas Hector. They also bought Lautaro Martinez and several other players in the previous year, I think. In the very last season, Kingsley Coman switched to Barcelona. They got Naby Keita from Liverpool, so Bayern Munich actually raided Liverpool for Naby Keita. He just made the switch from Red Bull to Liverpool to Bayern Munich in a couple of seasons. You can see here he's actually performing quite well in wherever he goes. So this is not a big surprise. Good players tend to move around quite a lot. We can see also Dortmund losing quite a lot of people in that season too. And finally, the French League 1. We left off when PSG were champions with 10 points to the second one. Then we go to the second season where PSG are champions again, but this time only on goal difference. They have 9 more goals than Monaco, which takes them to the title. Strasbourg and Caen are going down. Season number 3, PSG champions again, 5 points clear of Monaco. Amiens and Lens are going down. And in the final fourth season, PSG have been crowned champions for the fourth consecutive time. 11 points clear of second place Monaco, and we see Marseille finishing for the second season running in third place, qualifying for the Champions League. Strasbourg, Lorient and Caen have all gone down into the lower division. If we go to see the past winners, we can see that Monaco have only broken the dominance of PSG once in the last 8 years. And if we go to the transfers, let's have a look. The first season was not that impressive in terms of transfers. You can see that PSG are the main spenders. They also sold the most expensive player internally to Monaco. Then in the next season, PSG again have been buying quite a lot. Third season, PSG again have been buying. You can see they're buying probably a lot of the local stars, so they are weakening the competition and strengthening their own ranks. In the final season, though, Monaco have once again bought a key signing from PSG, weakening their team, strengthening themselves, but that was not sufficient for them to actually win the title. You can see that Monaco were quite off the mark. Before going to check Ivan Perisic's personal stats, let's see the European competition and Europa League first. So this is the season where we finished the first video. Liverpool were crowned champions of the Europa League after winning on penalties against Arsenal. The next season, Monaco won the title, winning against Milan in the final. We see that the other semi-finalists were Lazio and Lyon. Let's see other teams here. We don't see Burnley here lost 4-0 on aggregate to Valencia, so not a big surprise. Burnley in their first attempt in European competition. Then in the third season, Manchester City were crowned champions of the second tier competition in Europe, winning against Porto 3-1. We can see that they eliminated Monaco, Sporting Lisbon, Besiktas, and then Porto in the final. On the other side, Porto eliminated PSV Eindhoven, Liverpool, and Villarreal. Sorry, not Villarreal, but Milan on penalties. So this was a very interesting year. See, West Ham have also qualified to the second knockout round, but they went out on the final 16 round against PSV Eindhoven. In the final season, the champion was Milan, winning against Porto. So Porto lost 2 finals in a row, and Milan were in 2 finals in 3 years. Milan also won against Galatasaray in the semis, Benfica in the quarters, and Valencia in the 16 finals. We can see that Tottenham went out against the eventual finalists of Porto, and not much else interesting in this year. Let's go to the Champions League. The Champions League started with the first season title going to Juventus after beating Manchester United in the final. The next season, Atletico Madrid beat Barcelona to the Champions League title by beating them 2-1 in the final. Atletico, who had to go through so let me check. So they had to go through Arsenal 6-1 on aggregate. Then they beat Bayern Munich 5-3. Then Tottenham 2-1, and in the end beating Barcelona. So this is quite a phenomenal season for Atletico Madrid. They beat a lot of big teams to get to that final. Then in season number 3, Bayern Munich has won 2-1 against the same Atletico Madrid team, and Bayern beat Juventus to the final. Then Inter on the quarterfinals, and Arsenal in the first knockout round. In the very last season of the competition, Bayern Munich were crowned champions again by winning 2-0 against Juventus. In the semi-finals, they eliminated Atletico Madrid before eliminating Roma and Monaco previously in the competition. Phenomenal performance by Bayern. Because we didn't remember to do that in the previous video, let's also check the awards for best player in Europe for the past 4 seasons. We can see that the first season it was awarded to Lionel Messi, then Messi got it again, Neymar got the last title, and we're waiting for the 2021 award to be granted, so we're not going to see that. But we see that Messi and Neymar are dominating the awards. Let me just check if we can see the FIFA World Player of the Year award, FIFA Ballon d'Or. So we see that the last award was given to Alexis Sanchez, who is now playing for Manchester United. Before that, we got Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo each score another FIFA Ballon d'Or. So they are now way, way ahead in the all-time table. But Alexis Sanchez has beat Neymar and Hazard to the last one. Finally, let's have a look at Ivan Perisic and how did he perform in Manchester United after the transfer, because this was initially the whole idea of this experiment. By the looks of it, Ivan Perisic is not in the first team of Manchester United, so let's have a look in their transfer history and see what happened. Okay, nothing here. But then in season 19-20, you can see Ivan Perisic has been transferred away to Lyon for $17.25 million. So let's see what happened here. If we go to the history section here, we can see that he performed above 7, so this is a good performance average in all 4 years, but not too significant, so that's why United sold him. So if we have to conclude what happened in this experiment, Perisic helped United to the title in the first season, but then dropped off in performance, and they had better players to replace him, so he was surplus to requirements, sold off to France. With that, I conclude this experiment as complete, and I am going to focus on something else. If you want me to do a similar experiment, or you have another request, please let me know in the comments. Also, if you have any questions, of course, feel free to comment as well. Until the next time, bye.